What it do? What it do, Top Nation? What it motherfucking do, man? This one right here, it's a little quick video I just made about postseason football. College football season is officially over the regular season. Championship ball is gonna come up this weekend. You're gonna see conference championships, and then following that, immediate announcement of the bowl games, and then the BCS bowl games announcement coming on later on after that. But I'm really excited about this offseason. There's already been a lot of changes, like every year in college football, but weirdly, more so this year, I see more coaches moving around all over the place. Probably more so than any offseason I can remember lately, the last 10 years in college football. There's been a lot of coaches changing jobs this offseason. That's why you're gonna find me on the side of the kids transfers. You know what I'm saying? I'm a huge fan of transfers. I'm a huge fan of the college football transfer portal. I think it's for situations like this, when you see this offseason, when you see coaches moving all over the place, even coaches at good jobs with winning records, good programs, leaving those programs to go to programs who struggle, but with better foundations for long-term success. And in Brian Kelly's case, that left Notre Dame has been winning under him. And to me, they're in a better footing than LSU right now. But the SEC allure, and just being the fact that you get to recruit in the SEC territory, it was hard for Brian Kelly to reject, and he left Notre Dame job to take the LSU job. I think it's a good job for him because he's going to be able to recruit studs over there. It wasn't like he was having issues recruiting at Notre Dame. Come on now, Notre Dame recruit itself, but it's going to be a lot more easier getting the big 5-star kids at LSU. To be honest with you, all right now. But for us Maryland fans, this video is really, man, I want to make a first of all before I start. This video is going to be long. It's mostly about the portal, the transfer portal, and the guys leaving and the guys who I see coming in, and some of the coaching changes that I think will happen with Maryland football this offseason. All right. First of all, I want to give a shout out to the guys who are the all Big Ten teams members in Maryland football this year. There was only one guy who actually made a team. The rest of the guys all made honorable mention. Of course, we had 0 guys on special teams, to be expected. We have the worst special team in the country this year by far. That I'm gonna tap into that soon, because that's one of the areas I expect changes to come in the coaching staff, special teams. All right. Now, let's start it off with Sam Okuayenu. I proud myself saying this dude's last name right. So, but yeah, shout out to Sam. Sam, rightfully so, he's a 3rd team All Big Ten. Sam is another example of a guy who I believe he played at the worst 2nd team level All Big Ten this year. But because we don't have the record, and the defense as a whole performed horribly all year long, especially in conference play where it matters. If you want to earn these awards, these teams, you got to really perform doing conference play. And our defense didn't. There were guys who stand out on defense, and those guys got the recognition they deserve. But there were other guys who stand out who didn't get the recognition because the overall team who were horrible. And one of the guys who I think got hurt by the overall team defense performance was Sam. Sam played good enough this year to be at least 2nd team. In fact, if he would have had more sacks, you know what I'm saying, if our DBs would be able to cover a little bit more, giving him time to get in the backfield, because in terms of pass rush win rate, he was right up there with the best of the Big Ten. I'm talking about the best D lineman in the Big Ten. The guy was winning when in pass rushing situations. And run blocking, he had one of the better run blocking grades in the defensive lineman in the entire Big Ten. So the dude had a great year, Sam did. But it wasn't sure because everybody else around him was so trash. All right? Now let me not say everybody else, because Emmett Finau also was an honorable mention in Big Ten. That's another guy who command double teams pretty much every game we played in the Big Ten. Teams doubled him because he was the only guy really creating pressure, creating movement in the inside of our line. So most teams figured out early in our Big Ten schedule, probably that Iowa game in the 2nd half, Iowa just decided, you know what, let's just double him and we can run it on the rest of the guys. And they were able to successfully do it. And Finau and Sam Okuayenu, if we had more of those guys, we're going to need more of those guys going forward, because those guys really this year, their physicality showed on film. And I won't say that about any other guys on the D-line. I don't think we were very physical at all year long. We need to be a lot better being physical at the point of attack, physical at the snap, and then physical all the way through the play. All right. Plenty of times I feel like teams hold us. Plenty of times opposing teams will be getting helped by opposing linemen, but we don't get the calls because our guys really, once they get helped, they just stand there. Like you gotta force calls, guys. If you're being hold, there's nothing that will show to the ref you're being hold more when you're still playing through the penalty. You still giving the effort. You still trying to get past that lineman. Those things, that's when it shows clearly on the film. But when I watch film, I see a lot of on-call holding calls against Maryland this year. A lot of them. Some of our big running plays we gave up this year, many of those were penalties that weren't called against the opponent. But that's going to happen when historically we've had a shady defense in the Big Ten. We get no respect with the refs. The refs have no respect for Maryland defense. And that has to change. He has to change. First thing he has to change is the penalty. When we start cleaning up the penalties, we can get a little bit more respectable to the officials. But we commit so many penalties that even when penalties are being committed against us, the refs don't call it. They don't call it. All right? So this is some of the things I would like to see even out going forward in the Big Ten, because we have no chance with some of the calls we've been getting on the defensive end. Like, we get held a lot. And this year, I saw at least 3 or 4 pass interference calls that weren't pass interference. But because the top guy basically play the ball first or before the other the pass catcher, we get called for pass interference. When literally I've seen the same situation where Maryland receivers were getting mauled by the Michigan, the Ohio States, the Iowa of the world with no calls, with zero no calls. So again, those are the things that I pray it get evens out going forward, because I see other teams in the Big Ten that get a lot more respect than we do. We need to start getting respect from the refs. But none of that matter now. We're 6-6. We're bowl eligible. Big time 6 win against Rutgers. All right. So again, back again. Jordan Mosley was Jordan Mosley, honorable all mention on Big Ten. Jacqueline Bennett, honorable all mention. Emmy Finau, honorable all mention, and Nick Cross, honorable all mention. So we had 4 honorable all mentions on Big Ten: Nick Cross, Jordan Mosley, Jacqueline Bennett, and Emmy Finau. Jordan Mosley, to me, was the best player in our defense all year long. That dude had the best season. In fact, he had the year that I wish that I've been praying for him to have since he been at Maryland. I think he put it all together this year. He still wasn't good in pass coverage, but he was in 99% of the time, Jordan Mosley was in the right position. Something I couldn't say before this year watching this film. Many times before this year, he was out of position so many times where I'd be like, he had no chance there to make a tackle or even break up that pass. Unlike this year, he was in a position a lot, but he just got mossed, or he just never turned around and looked for the ball. So those are unfortunate, but if there's one dude that I believe can go to the NFL and become like what's his name? J.C. Jackson. Like, you know, when you watch J.C. Jackson in Maryland, I knew he had talent, but he was so fucking inconsistent, not just in the in pass defense, but in run defense. Like, the dude never even tried to make a tackle at Maryland. So that's one of the reasons why he fell so far in the draft. I think he was undrafted or something like that, because of those concerns. He was too inconsistent. J.C. Jackson will give you reps on defense where he literally shut down a receiver, top-level receiver, in one snap. The following snap, he get beat on a 5-yard out, and instead of he tackling the guy for a 5-yard gain, the guy took it for 15, 20 more yards because he refused to tackle. That was the type of inconsistencies that I see in J.C. Jackson at Maryland, that he's cleaned up. Because of in the NFL, they give you a specific role. You have a role, you have a system, and everybody, the expectation of the defense expect you to do your job. And Maryland, I feel like this coaching staff are not getting these kids to understand, do your fucking job. When your job is done right, everybody else's job done right, we have a great defense. And that's where it's having a problem with these kids at Maryland that just cannot get it to translate from whatever they're teaching these motherfuckers on the practice field to come to the game days, all right? J.C. Jackson's gotten so much better. So many of his weaknesses, areas in his game that I saw in college, he's cleaned up in the NFL. He still got the same ball skills that he always had. He had those in high school. But he's cleaned up the little missed gaps, the little footwork inconsistencies that he has, back pedal inconsistencies that he has. He cleaned up a whole bunch of aspects of his game. And now he's probably one of the best, probably the most dangerous corner in the NFL to throw it to, because he has more INTs in the last 2 years than any other player in the NFL. Right? Not just DB, player in the NFL. So, again, Jordan Moses is one of those guys that I think can be almost a J.C. Jackson type. Now, he's not going to be a cornerback, of course, but I think he's going to be a good-ass hybrid linebacker safety in the NFL. The kid can run for a big 218, 220, 225 pound. He can put on a good 5-10 pounds of muscle, get to about 230, and he'll be a vicious coverage linebacker in the NFL. Like a matchup nightmare to plug against tight ends, any kind of slot, big wide receivers. The guy can run. He just hasn't learned how to play the pass yet. He hasn't learned footwork, angles yet. Those are things that NFL coaches can teach you. Way better than Maryland sorry-ass coaches can. So I have really high hopes for this guy, Jordan Mosley, really doing big things in the NFL. Nick Cross, on the other hand, struggled this year. It was a massively down year for him, not just productivity, but leadership. That's one of the main things I'm really disappointed in Nick. Nick didn't show no leadership this year. There was too many times this year on a key play where the other team targeted Nick. That should never happen. When the other team feels so confident enough to go at you, that is, they will absolutely go at you in key downs. Not just any downs, not first down, but in third down, in like key downs. Nick Cross was getting attacked this year, especially in the red zone. Too many times this year, I saw him miss one-on-one tackles that led to first downs or touchdowns in the red zone. So there's a lot of holes in Nick Cross' game that he needs to clean up, because to me, he's an all-pro, all-NFL type safety. He has all the tools, the skills, the speed, the ball skills. He has everything. But this year, it just looks so out of place, out of touch. I almost didn't recognize if that was Nick Cross. Somehow, because he was one of the leading tacklers in the whole country at defensive back, he made honorable mention on Big Ten. But his productivity to me wasn't even close to that. He was really bad this year, all right? Jordan Mosley was way better compared to Nick Cross, all right? Because I expect Jordan Mosley not to be good in the pass, not Nick Cross, all right? Now, Jacqueline Bennett, this is another guy who I believe in his first 4 games before conference play, he was playing at first team or Big Ten level. And I think he was probably at least second team. But he got beat so often this year in Big Ten play, especially that Ohio State game. Those teams target him. Michigan State target him. Like, too many of those games where teams came in the ball game targeting him. That's the problem. So he still is a player. But our DBs, too many times they come into the ball game, they're being targeted. That to me tells me teams don't trust your technique. Teams don't trust you being consistent enough to keep doing the same thing over and over. The guy still he's still one of the leaders in the country in pass breakups. So he's always around the ball. So he's another guy who has, I believe, with just the proper coaching in the NFL, because he has the size, 6'1", about 200, 205, 210. He can put on 10 pounds, become 210. So the dude is a big corner that can cover, because he's always around the ball. But he get beat too many times, sometimes for my liking. And double moves get him, because sometimes he's very aggressive. But like I said, don't be surprised if Jacqueline Bennett, Jordan Mosley, this guy goes to the NFL and stick. Not just stick, but have very, very good careers in the NFL. Because these guys have played a lot in Maryland. And that sometimes matters when you go to the next level, because you've seen all type of schemes. It's easier for you to translate and be taught NFL schemes, NFL concepts. That shit can really take your game to boom. You can really become a boom from a bust. All right? Now, Amy Fina, again, really disappointed this year because the D-line didn't perform well enough for him, because the guy faced double teams every game. Teams realized probably at the Iowa game, if we double him, the rest of the D-line, the front seven can't stop the run. And we got crushed the rest of the year. We're stopping the run because of it. All right? So, again, that's one guy I believe if every other guy around him would have played better, the way he was commanding double teams, we would have had a much better run defense. Now, in the NFL, he ain't going to be facing the kind of double team. So I expect Amy Fina to be in the NFL. He'll be a good run-stopping defensive tackle in the NFL, nose tackle in the NFL. The guy is 330. He's big, can move well. Like, he knows the game. So I really think we have a couple of players that, like, they won't be drafted, but these guys will be in the NFL. We'll catch on to some team as undrafted free agents, all right? Amy Fina is one of those. Sam O might get drafted because Sam has power in his hands, and he has a great get-off. What Sam don't have is knowledge of the game. Too many times teams tricked him. Too many times he's right there to make a play behind the line of scrimmage, but he just knows where the ball is at. So, again, the guy has a lot to learn, but then again, he just started playing football, really. He only played football 1 year in JUCO before he came to Maryland. So think about that. and he's been in Maryland 2 years now, going on his 3rd year. So really, he just started playing football 4 years ago. So this guy gonna be a lot better. Get him to the right team. This guy could be a star in the NFL. Save this. Sam O could be a what's his name? A Yannick Yakinu type. He could be a star in the NFL. All right, because he could be a great run defender in the NFL because he has superpower in his hands. The guy is super strong. All right, he just gotta learn the game a little bit more. That's his problem. That's why we get beat so much this year on the line. Our line, the guys don't know the game. Or either that or guys who are playing the wrong assignment, taking the wrong angles, taking the wrong gaps. It was just too many things which directly is to coaching. Right? So, all right, now let's go to the PFF all PFF team this year in college football. And Maryland has 3 guys in there. And that's a good sign. Mind you, it's about only like 36 people make these teams every year. You know what I'm saying? Like I think 36 or 40 make it every year. Maryland has 3 of those guys in there. Second team, Jordan Mosley. Again, he's the highest guy we have in there. Like I said, I really believe this kid has had the best year in our defense by far. And I believe he just played himself to an NFL player. I think he's going to be a good matchup piece in the NFL to cover against tight ends that are fast. The kid can run, and he's played a lot of ball. He's seen a lot of coverages, a lot of offensive schemes. That's going to help him next level. NFL team scouts love defensive, especially as DBs that have played a lot. And if you be around the ball a lot, that's why I think Jordan Mosley is going to stick to a team. A team will like him because he has size, he can run, and he be around the ball a lot. Now he does get beat, but a guy like him, teams will take a chance on because you know if you just teach him a little bit of technique here and there, you might have yourself an all-pro safety like J.C. Jackson. I mean, an all-pro cornerback like J.C. Jackson. All right. So again, Jordan Mosley was the best guy we have in there. He was second team all PFF the whole college football season. Tolia was third team all PFF the whole college football season, and Rakim Jarrett was honorable mention on that. All right. Now, the Big Ten that was just the defense this year. The Big Ten has announced so far. Tomorrow, I expect them to announce the offense and the freshmen of the year. Now, Tolia, he's going to be at least a third team all Big Ten member because now. The Ohio State quarterback, Michigan quarterback, those guys have had better team play record. They're going to take the first teams thing. And I think the Penn State quarterback might even take the third from Tualia because the record not there. But productivity-wise, damn, 2 quarterbacks better than this guy in this conference. I'll probably put a Ohio State quarterback ahead of him. That's it. But Tualia, I expect him to be at least a third or honorable mention. Jillian Duncan, our left tackle, he's an NFL player. Now, he's one of the guys that could leave and go to the NFL. I pray not, but if I'm the kid and I see like a top 3 rounds grade, nigga, go take the money. All right, Maryland football will be fine. Take the money, kid. All right. So Jillian Duncan is a guy that I hope comes back, but I expect him to be at least a third team all Big Ten because there wasn't a better left tackle in the Big Ten this year. There was not. All right, not in pass defense, not in run blocking. Our line was outstanding this year. It's the position group in our whole team, our offensive line. Was the main reason why we got to 6 wins because they kept Tolia up all year. Tolia really didn't take many big hits. Maybe 1 or 2 I can remember all season long where he actually got clobbered. All right? And some of those were even his fault because he didn't see the blitz, the disguised blitz coming. So, again, outstanding job by our O-line this year. They're the reason why we got to 6 wins. All right, guys? As bad as our defense was, if that O-line was bad, this Maryland team was a 2-win ball club. They would not have beat West Virginia. They would not have beat Illinois on the road. Those are 2 wins they would not have got. That put us at 4 wins. And I could easily see us losing 2 more of the wins we had. All right? Like the Rutgers game. Because that's a good Rutgers defense that we absolutely neutralize the front 7 because of our offensive line. Made Tualia have all day long to set records. And he did. Now, where am I going to go to next? Rakim Jarrett is another guy I expect to be all Big Ten member, at least third team. All right. Now, if we really be in productivity, I expect him to be in the second team. But record-wise, it matters. So third team or honorable mention. Spencer Henderson should be at least honorable mention. Other right tackle, other tackle, a right tackle. But later on in the year, the last 4 games, the staff moved him to center, and our line really took off. All those inconsistencies we had with Eric Harris, the JUCO kid, were gone. None of those four-star, many of those four-star got eradicated. The holding got eradicated. That's what happened when you have a senior, a guy who's already started and all over the line, taking over that position. Hopefully, now he's a junior. Spencer Henderson is a junior, our right tackle. Now, hopefully he comes back. I would like to see him at center next year because our line looks so much better. Run defense, running the ball, run blocking and pass blocking. All right, with him at center. Now, transfer portal. This is the main reason why I want to make this video. I've been waiting for 20 minutes. All right, I'm going to give you guys good details about Terps football. Now, transfer portal. These are the guys we have leaving. The biggest guy so far we've had leaving is Terrence Lewis. Now, he hasn't left yet. Now, I got to say this to you guys. Just because the guy is in the portal doesn't mean they're absolutely gone, guys. All right? There have been cases of guys who go in the portal and who basically, after weighing all their options, realize, you know what, it's better if I stay here. And many instances, it happens last year too, where many guys stay after hopping on the portal, they end up staying where they were initially. So, but some of these guys I'm Maryland that already entered the portal, actually, in a way, I wish they leave. Like a guy like Terrence Lewis, you guys might think I'm bananas for wishing the #1 linebacker from last year to leave the program. It's guys like him why we ain't gonna win. We might win one year, but we ain't gonna have consistency winning with guys like him. This kid doing his recruitment last year, big fan by the way, when we flipped him, but he combined to 3 different programs in one cycle. That was a red flag, all right? And with the kind of season we had this year, with the kind of boneheaded penalties and knuckleheadness we had this year, I'm done with kids like that. Those me kids. Those all about me type of motherfuckers. Maryland don't need those kids anymore. You see kids like teams like Iowa win annually without kids like that. You see teams like Michigan State win annually without teams like that. Ohio State, you don't need the me kids. Those me kids, time to let them go. I don't care how big of recruits they are. It's time to let them go. All right, Damian Prince was a 5-star offensive tackle. This dude played like a 2-star his entire 4 years in Maryland. So again, miss me with recruiting rankings, bro. Give me the good kids that are hungry to improve. Those are the kids that take you to the next level in college football. Those kids that are hungry, that have been disrespected, that feel disrespected by the rankings. Give me those kids, man. I'm tired of these kids coming in here, ego that Maryland flip from other schools. Those kids never end up anything at Maryland. All right? Again, Penny Bone is another guy, running back, Detroit kid. The guy, he probably could have been the second on the depth chart had he not just had ball control issues. He almost cost us the game at Illinois. Follow that up with a couple of drops, big drops against Minnesota. Like, these are kids I'm happy to go. Penny Boone, good luck, buddy. I was happy when we get you because we needed that big running back, but we got Antoine Littleton, the kid from St. John's. He could be just as good as you, if not better. We saw what Littleton was doing from Pee Wee ball all the way to St. John's High School locally. Like, come on, man. We don't need another Penny Boone. This kid guy's ego, you can see it during that Michigan State game. It was his best game, but you can just see it. He has an ego going on there. Good luck to this kid, all right? Good luck to this kid. Now, he's going to find a home because he's a big guy that can run hard. But I don't need him at Maryland. Not with that kind of ego. We ain't going to win like that. We need him gone. Like, kids like that, let them go find places where they can be anything they want, see anything they want, and everything is Gucci, all right? Because we ain't winning enough yet to deal with that kind of egos around here. So he can step. He can get the stepping, all right? Another guy who left is Daquan McDougall. Now, this is one kid that absolutely I don't understand this transfer. But again, I ain't mad at it, all right? Because any kid that think he's this much of the shit, when you were literally a low fucking 3-star, this kid was a 2-star recruit until Maryland offered him. He was basically heading towards a lower level football league. Maryland offered this kid, and he blew up in his state playoff games after he got offered by Maryland. So he ended up becoming like a low 3-star, middle 3-star recruit. With that kind of rating, nigga, you are expected to be benching and sitting on any college you go. Any Power 5 college, most Power 5 schools, you're going to sit your ass on the bench and get developed. That's the expectations most of these kids should have at that ranking. But no, not this motherfucking kid. In a school like Maryland, we'll probably have one of the best receiving room in the country, let alone in the Big Ten. This nigga decided to leave this year when literally we losing 4 or 5 seniors at the position. This nigga could have stayed one more year next year and shine next year with Rakim and a bunch of the other guys we got. But no, he wanted to leave. He wanted to leave. So again, Dejon McDougal, good for you, buddy. I hope you find a home. But believe me, my nigga, we will not miss you. It's kids like you we need out of Maryland. I need you out. Take Penny Boone and Terrence Lewis with you. All right? I'm at a point in my life, bro. Any kid that don't want to be in Maryland, get them out. Because those are the kids that create friction and issues during the season that can make us go from 4-0 to 6-6 at the end of the year. Get those bums out. Now, I expect more kids to transfer. I expect us to lose a couple of linebackers more, a couple of more defensive players, because our defense was so trash. I'm sure some of those motherfucking freshmen thought, man, I could have did better. Well, you get your chance to do better next year. But if you don't think you can wait, good luck, buddy. Out of town. Get out of town. Now, as for the transfer portal, these are the guys that I've been keeping track of. Guys that I think can be major impact for Maryland. All right? Now, I got to start from the O-line. You always got to have O-line depth, O-line studs. There's one guy in the offensive line who basically he's the little brother, I'm guessing, or he might be the cousin of Emmy Fina. His name is Sean Fina. Sean Fina. Sean Fina, or Siani Fina. He's an offensive guard, offensive tackle from FIU, Florida International University. Now, this kid here, every school in the country is going to want him. I watched just 5 minutes of his film at FIU. This motherfucker is an NFL player. He's like 6'5", 320, massive like his brother, cousin, Emmy Finau, the defensive tackle at Maryland. So again, Maryland got to keep that Finau family here. This kid will be massive for us. Because guard was one of the positions we struggled at. Both Jacqueline Branch and the young kid, number 78 from Go Council, they both struggled this year, our guard position. Not massively, because our line overall was great, but our guards was one of our weaknesses. This kid here will absolutely show up any guard position he play next year, especially if we have Jillian Duncan and Spencer Henderson coming back. Those three, if we can get those three to shoot up for Maryland next year, our line will go from suspect to one of the best lines in the country. So that kid is massive. All right? Offensive tackle, offensive guard, Siani or Sloan or Sion Fina. FIU, the kid is massive. Big time player. Another transfer who many people ain't talking about Maryland right now getting, but don't be surprised if Maryland find a way to flip this kid to Maryland. They're in the portal already. 2 wide receivers from Oklahoma that I'm keeping my eye on. These kids can easily be suited at Maryland because why? We have a quarterback, a conference-leading, record-setting quarterback who is already a sophomore in Tolia Tagovailoa. You believe me, guys. Believe me when I tell you, many of these big-time receivers, upperclassmen receivers that are in the portal, Maryland is going to be right up there on their list. Maryland will be right there because we have a line. All right? We have a line. We have a quarterback. All we need is receive pass catchers. With Demas leaving and Jason Jones, whether he leave or not, with injuries, that's another guy I expect him to be on the portal too. Right? Because he's already had too many injuries on Maryland. But if he stick it out, that shows me he's a top through and through. Because he had every reason to transfer now with all the injuries he's had. But if he still come back next year, Jason Jones deserves to have a statue on college spot. Loyalty like that you don't see every day, especially with these kids nowadays. But again, big time right there. All right? Now, these are the guys that two Oklahoma receivers that I think Maryland has a chance of getting one or both. It's Jaden Hazelwood. He was the number 1 wide receiver coming out of his class. And then Theo Weiss is his 23rd recruit from in the whole country coming out. Number 3 receiver out of Texas, in the country, a kid from out of a high school in Texas, Theo Weiss. So LSU, Oklahoma is losing some big-time players. Spencer Rattler is also in the transfer portal. Now, Caleb Williams, everybody locally know Caleb Williams. Everybody locally, I'm sure, is praying and hoping Caleb Williams can get in the portal and Maryland can get him. That's the dream, all right? That's the dream. The dream is to get Caleb Williams, and then it will be making much easier job for us to get Jaden and Theo. But if we get Caleb Williams, there's a good chance Tolia might leave. So I don't want that either. I'd rather have the kid that want to be here from day one. All right, the kid that actually want to be here and over the set records here. I want to have him to short that. All right. So again, Caleb Williams it's an option, but again, it's not in the party yet from Oklahoma. But a guy who I think there's a good chance if he's in a portal, he might come to Maryland. Now, his ego might not have him wait behind Tolia, but Spencer Rattler is a kid that many coaches like Mike Locksley, coaches that believe in their system, coaches that believe in their abilities to work with quarterbacks. Many coaches will take up that challenge because the kid had a lot of tools, Spencer Rattler, to be a great player. But he's very immature, he's selfish, and he's not a leader. So he's going to need a coach that's really going to have to groom him, not just on the field, but off the field, mostly to become a professional. Because the kid has professional arm, but there's other qualities that are not professional, more like JV level. So he needs to grow up. Caleb Williams, cornerback Eddie Smith. This is a kid that currently at Illinois. Over the offseason, he transferred from Alabama. So, and I saw some of his practice film at Alabama. The kid can play, all right? Now, he didn't play this year at Illinois. I don't know if it was an injury or something, but Terps needs to keep a track on that. Eddie Smith, a kid currently at Alabama. He didn't play his 1 year there. So, I mean, currently at Illinois, he didn't play his 1 year there after transferring from Alabama. But Maryland should keep a really close eye on that kid, Eddie Smith, cornerback at Illinois. Running back, Jamia Gibbs. This kid here is a must-have, especially with Fleet Davis graduating and our depth chart looking so young with Penny Boone leaving. And I think we lost another running back. We've lost 2 running backs to the cycles this year alone. The 33rd ranked running back that year and the 26th ranked running back, which is Penny Booth. We lost them. I'm forgetting the other dude who we lost. But all of them, we were supposed to transfer this season. But this kid here, Jamia Gibbs, is big time. He has the #1 PFF grade for pass catching running backs. Mind you, our running back, Tayon Fleet, led the Big Ten in pass catches for coming out of the backfield. So Maryland offense is tailor-made for this kind of kid's skill set. So I think Maryland should be in there getting this kid. But you best believe every big-time program, I'm talking about every big-time program with the smart offensive coordinator is going to get after this kid. Because this kid is basically a wide receiver. When I watch him, he can really get out there on the outside and match up with even cornerbacks, and he can beat them. And that's a running back. With the strength and speed he has, and strength and agility he has, and the ability to break tackles, that's dangerous to have a guy like that in the slot who you can push out. You can flank out of the formation and just attack linebackers with. So, Jamia Gibbs, running back from Georgia Tech. Big time player in the portal, all right? #1 PFF grade for pass catching running back. Tayon Fleet led the Big Ten pass catches from the running back position this year. So Maryland got the scheme. That's why I put him in there. Another guy that I really like, another position, offensive tackle, offensive guard, P.S. Quick, Alabama. Again, to a little connection. This guy is a junior. He has 2 more years of eligibility left. If there's any guy that Maryland, if it's anybody that can flip him to Maryland, it's Tolia. I'm sure he probably know this guy personally. They probably talked and have a relationship. So Maryland got to use all that. And trust me, Locks is not a fool. Locks know how to close the deal. You show Locks a sign you're interested, he'll finish the deal. All right? Now, another big-time cornerback who I'm sure every team in the country going to want is Eli Ricks, cornerback in the portal from LSU. Big-time player. This kid was literally the second best on their depth chart last year at cornerback. And he's already in the portal this year. So I'm trying to tell you guys, this is a team that won the championship just 2-3 years ago. This LSU team. So this kid has championship experience. He got 2 years of eligibility left. So big time player Eli Brooks, and Maryland has a need at DB, especially a corner with Jacqueline Bennett. And so we got 3 seniors leaving at cornerback this year, and not even counting Jordan Mosley. That's the 4th DBs that are leaving, graduating this year. So a kid like Eli Ricks and Eddie Smith, those 2 quarterbacks will be massive if Maryland can get them in the portal. All right. Now, quarterback, of course, I already said Spencer Rattler, Caleb Williams. But another quarterback you guys got to keep an eye on for Maryland is Gabriel, current UCF quarterback. He's in the portal too. Left-handed kid, very accurate, some of the problems I have with Toya, this kid don't have. This kid's very accurate. Now, he probably does not have the arm ability that Toya has, but this kid will not miss open people. So he'll be a great, great backup for Toya, all right? Jake Plummer, another kid from Purdue. This kid just earlier this year, he threw for over 400 yards, I think, against Iowa to beat Iowa, a top 5 Iowa team. So the kid can play. Jake Plummer, quarterback Purdue, all right? And that is the guys that I have so far that I think the staff should target. Those are massive guys that I just mentioned. Those are guys that if we can get them, or even a combination of those guys, Maryland could absolutely not just win, not just make it to a bowl next year again, but they could possibly touch 9-10 wins next year. All right? But again, I talk too much, guys. I'm going to cut it short now, but go motherfucking Terps. Tomorrow, we're gonna hear about the offensive all Big Ten teams and the freshman teams going announce, all right? But I expect Taulier, I expect Jillian Duncan, maybe even Spencer Henderson, and of course, Rakim Jarrett to be in it. Now, our tight end probably could be in it too, Okonkwo, as an honorable mention, and Tayon Fleet, but those are the guys I expect to be mentioned, all right? Our offense was probably one of the better aspects of our old team, and it was one of the better units in the entire Big Ten this year, so we should have a little bit more hump of players being named over there, not just honorable mention, hopefully some teamers too. All right, guys, but anyway, as always, man, go motherfucking Terps and no one motherfucking else. You guys stay tuned here with the most in-depth Terps offseason news. I'm going to give you guys way more about the transfer portal, way more about the recruiting going on, but I have a feeling this staff is really, really trying to knock out the transfer portal. Recruiting-wise, you saw what happened with this high school kids. They could easily flip-flop and get back in the portal. Go after more mature guys who already been to other places, who already seen what will happen if you come to a place without being 100% in. So get out to the portal. Let's get those guys. Those guys will be difference makers, all right? That's what Michigan State used to go from 4 wins 2 years ago to 10 wins this year. Merlin got to get in that portal. Go motherfucking Terps and no one else, motherfucker.